Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Road Course Racing here tonight for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel. For tonight's race, it's the Sharp Apparel at the Glen, as the driver's going to be tackling this course for 49 laps. They do now have fast repairs back, as fast repairs are enabled for that of road courses and plate tracks. So the drivers, they make a mistake, the race isn't completely done. With 3 sets of tires in pit road, we'll see what the action can bring, but they are slick. It's hot out there on the track, and we can't wait to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Zach, it's going to be a hot, slick one. We even saw it there. Bershit going for a little bit of a drift, but certainly it should be a good one here tonight.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a fantastic race here, Sam. 4 races to go before we head off into the playoffs here at Stars and Stripes League. It's going to be an important race for these drivers. I'd say, what, 3rd time they've come here in their history at Stars and Stripes. So it's going to be interesting to see who can take Scott Rickard off that top of the throne, because, man, he has had a pretty strong hold on top of that top spot when it comes to road courses, winning all 3 road course events that we had, including earlier this season at Sonoma and the 2 previous Watkins Glen races we've had here. So he's a tough one to beat. He hadn't been done yet, but if there's a track that can do it, this place is hot and slick. Like you said, mistakes are very prone to happen. We could see maybe Scott Rickard slip up and someone be able to take that top spot.
I mean, touching on that Rickard dominance, I mean, Zach, both you and I were kind of shocked and kind of bewildered looking at the stats here at Watkins Glen. Scott Rickard has dominated in both of the previous races here at the Glen, and he has led every single lap but one. Zach, that is not usually something that happens, but as you can see on our tickers, we're under practice conditions. There's a driver that's going to try to take that crown away from Scott Rickard, and his name is Cameron Starton.
Yeah, and like you said, leading all those laps that hadn't really had a chance. There's nobody to really have nothing for him yet. Other than Kyle Bowling, there's no other driver to lead here at Stars and Stripes at this racetrack here. But, also a little change up too. This is the new scan of Watkins Glen we have here on iRacing, very much updated with the curbs and the profiling of this racetrack. You can use a little bit more racetrack, so there's spots that drivers are going to find to be able to make a little bit more time up than they usually could. But I tell you what, through those S's, as we just watched that 53 go up there, and Patrick Casey made a little mistake here in practice before we head off into qualifying. It is so hot and slick. It is just one of those tracks that you continuously heat the tires up due to how high speed this road course is, and each lap you go on, that rear grip seems to fade each and every lap. Whoever can keep up with the best here tonight is going to be the driver that looks to contend for that top spot.
With this being one of the final races in the regular season, this is very important for drivers that are around the bubble spot to really have a great run. There is one driver that has already gotten a win this season outside of our top 12. That's going to be Timmy McNally, and that means in our top 12, technically it'd be our top 11 that are inside that would be moving on into that of the playoffs, with Tim McNally taking that 12th place position with the win that was grabbed earlier this season. So, Zach, there's some drivers that are on the watch out around the bubble. Those drivers to watch out for: Trey Jackson, Dylan Grimm, Nick Holland, Travis Butt, and Dylan Glass. Those drivers are all around the bubble, 10th to 14th in points currently. And they all had very successful days last week, but can they continue with that success to hope that they can stay inside of that top 11 positions?
Yeah, those positions have gotten jumbled up a lot here in the last few weeks, and really coming down to last week, like you said, a few of those guys had some great runs, including Travis Butt there. He moved up 3 spots in the points, along with Nick Holland moving up 2 spots to that 12th position. Dylan Grimm, though, terrible night for him early at there last week, where he just could not get out of trouble and had to pretty much limp around the rest of the race. He lost 2 positions there due to points, and so did Aaron Hill, lose another 2 positions down to 9th there. And missing that race was really crucial for Aaron Hill. He's got to bounce back big here tonight in the 4, because he was on a really big roll, had a lot of momentum building up late into this regular season. He definitely doesn't want it all to come crumbling down in these last 4 races.
Absolutely not. In these last 4 races, there's some unpredictability. Again, here tonight, Watkins Glen, last road course race of the season, with then next week going to be at Darlington, Gateway, and finishing off the regular season, the wild card of Talladega, of who knows who could get the win there. But It's before we really start touching on that more, qualifying is underway. The drivers have 10 minutes of qualifying to put down their fastest lap. Currently, we're 8.5 minutes in as drivers are starting their first lap.
Yeah, first time is being started right here. The 20th Derek Offerman, he's going to head down here to turn one, downhill braking corner. Very easy to lock up the rear tires and get a little bit of wheel hop in down there in one. He's going to straddle this curve here before he heads up the hill through the S's here, right up here, and then he's going to come back to the left, and again, another sweeping right-hander after this, after he crests the top of the hill. Car gets very, very light, hard to hold that traction and that speed and momentum down this long straightaway to one of the most technical spots on the racetrack. This is the bus stop chicane, as they like to call it. It down all the way from fourth gear, all the way to that second gear, carrying as much momentum through there, trying to hit those curves and use those to help navigate that car through as you head down to the carousel for the long right-hander. In this corner, most of the time we're going left for these long corners. This corner a little bit opposite of what the normal ovals, and now with that pavement exit there, you can see you can carry so much more speed, and even heading into the final two corners of this track, the other paved runoffs here is where it used to be grass and then straight into gravel. Now some paved runoff for these drivers to have a little bit more room to escape here, Sam, and carry a little bit momentum as Offerman comes out of the final corner here to complete a lap at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, Offerman's going to be trying to put himself, going to be one of the drivers to watch out for in the middle of the pack, really aiming to get into the top 10, is going to be the 20 machine as times start to trickle in. Big surprise for some, and for others, maybe not so much. Kyle McCoy up to second, very quick for the 7 machine, but with the not surprise, it's that 05. Scott Rickard going to be topping the board currently for the 05. But what can Cameron Sarton put down? That's going to be the driver to watch out for here as qualifying continues on. As we saw that 13 top the board during practice, but can he do it again as the 53? Here's Christopher Wade trying to finish out his lap.
Yeah, he's going to finish up the final two corners here out of this final corner. And looks like Sarton's time comes in here in the number 13 machine, and that's going to be fourth place for him. Not the time he was looking for. We'll see if he tries to go for a second lap. Now, these tires, surprisingly, at this track will hold up for a second lap. I don't know if you're going to see pole time out of those laps, but maybe if it just feels a little bit more heat build up and a little bit more grip on this second lap for these drivers. So we'll see if anybody does go a little bit quicker, but I expect that first lap to be majority of the field's fastest lap here. Is right now Rickard's still holding on to that gap, has Bowling and McCoy there in third and second.
I mean, McCoy only that of 37 thousandths of a second off of what Scott Rickard put down. And it looks like for Kyle McCoy, that is going to be the best for him. Going to be second currently. And Scott Rickard did best his first time, extending that lead just a little bit more as we continue to watch the 53 of Christopher Wade. Now, for Wade, a driver that is just looking for, again, inside the top 10 is where he's aiming, kind of similar to where Derek Offerman is. Christopher Wade's feeling good for himself as this season has one win, multiple, second place finishes, and going to be coming away with a total of that of 4 top 5s, 8 top 10s. We'll see if the 53 can extend on those stats. Coming across the line, final time around here for qualifying as all the drivers had 2 laps in total for themselves. Christopher Wade bumps up to 7.
Yeah, Christopher Wade there, a good lap from the second one as we're watching now Brian Burchett in the 33. You had their times clicking through for the second time. And like I said, I thought it was going to be the first lap, but it seems like a few guys were able to go quicker, including that pole setter so far, Scott Rickard. And Cameron starting there, jumping up on his second lap to that second position, but still a healthy gap in between the first and second spot. Looks like Brian Burchett for his first lap is going to hop up to 8th on the board.
And Cameron starting only up to 3rd. Burchett, again, this is his first lap. Now on to the second one. 8th currently. We'll see as multiple of these drivers have been able to move up anywhere from 2 to 3 tenths on their first lap compared to their second. And also we'll see what speed the 33 can put down here. And if he can extend it, another 2 to 3 tenths, the 33 could crack the top 5 here with the pace that there was put down on this first lap. So here comes that of Brian Burchett through the carousel. Going to be trying to find all the speed, carry it through, come down into these final 2 corners.
Big run out of the carousel there for that 33 machine. Gonna head down to the final 2 corners here. A heavy braking zone here for the left-hander. Got to get it wheeled up a lot. Don't want to carry too much speed here on this exit. He pushes wide. It's hard to get back to the left here for this final braking zone down to the final corner where he'll put down his second and final qualifying lap here as we got about still 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. Let's see if Burchett goes any quicker there. And it's going to be a 112.98 there. So about 200s quicker for the 33. That's going to keep him there in the 8th position.
Well, as we take a look here at that of Ryan Lynch, currently on his second lap time. First lap put him in up to 17th. We're also going to take a look at the weather. This is a factor that we've noted on multiple times throughout this season. Drivers have thought about waiting until later on to go out there for qualifying, and the temperatures have been fluctuating here during qualifying. When qualifying first started, it was 115 degrees on track 10, but dropped down to 113 just a few moments ago, and now has climbed back up to 114 degrees Fahrenheit. And there goes the 24 into the wall, just dumping away that second attempt. 17th, gonna be the best for the 24.
A little mistake there, just coming out of that carousel. So hard to put the power down, and it just shows how little grip there is. And like you talked about, that 114-degree track temp, it just showed up right there. Could not put the power down in those Goodyear tires coming out of the carousel, and ends up into that barrier there with that nose damage. And luckily, going to have that car fixed up once we get gridded. But, man, just going to have to hang on to that position there for now as it's 17th with looks like nobody out on the racetrack right now. So everybody looks content here with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And if you're going to be looking to get a time in, you've got to be heading off pit road pretty much right now.
Yeah, if you want to even put one lap down, but it seems like most of the field deciding not to, which gives us an opportunity to talk about some of the most amazing sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Starting things off with Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Butt Kicker is one of the best places to go get yourself a Gamer 2. It attaches to your sim rig and allows you to feel the sounds instead of just hearing them. It rattles your system and rattles you around. So instead of just hearing a V8, why not feel a V8 engine underneath you? Or if you're watching a movie, it enhances every aspect of your racing or listening needs. Go get yourself a Gamer 2 with using the promo code FreakyFast20 for 20% off at Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. And as well, Advanced Sim Racing. If you're looking to get yourself into some of the best hubs to either get yourself a racing chassis for sim racing or just go get yourself some retail, Advanced Sim Racing is practically the one-stop hub to get all of your sim racing needs. Go use the promo code FreakyFast5 for 5% off at your purchases. And big thank you to both of our major sponsors at Advanced Sim Racing and Butt Kicker. And Zach, we got less than a minute to go before qualifying is officially done. No one else is going to be hitting the track. But Watkins Glen, one of the biggest tasks for these drivers to finish out the regular season. Again, we got Watkins Glen, Darlington, that of Gateway, and as well Talladega to finish out the regular season before playoffs. But what are you looking at this track right now? What are some of the big factors that these drivers are going to have to worry about going into this 49-lap featured race?
Well, with it being 49 laps here, 90% fuel load, you're probably still looking at these drivers doing a one-stop. Can they make the tires last is going to be the question, though, to do that one-stop. That is going to be the toughest part about this. You'll probably see a few drivers even elect to take that two-stop strategy just to, add in that little bit of extra grip and feel and sensibility for the car. So it's going to be a interesting night racing here at Watkins Glen, as this place is always tough to definitely get around. And I tell you what, just looking here at the points like we talked about before too, Dylan Grimm, Trey Jackson, 2 drivers there in 10th and 11th right on that cut line. They're not here tonight. This is going to be a big opportunity for drivers like Nick Holland and Travis Butt who are trying to move themselves forward.
Gonna see what big gaps can be made. Who's gonna be finding the little bit of an edge? We'll find it all out here again tonight. Here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, it's that of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series Season 4 here tonight, presented by that of Sharp Apparel. Here's a look at your starting grid. Once again, finding the top spot here during qualifying. He's got the speed at Watkins Glen. He's shown it every single time they've been here. It's Scott Rickard. But who's outside in second place? It's going to be that of Cameron Sarton. Following behind, going to be that of Kyle McCoy, Kyle Bowling, as well that of Brett Sommers, Timmy McNally, Christopher Wade, Brian Burchett with Nick Holland, And as well, Travis Butt finishing out our top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the 20 of Derek Offman. Alongside him, it's going to be the 10 of Chris Esri. Starting back in the 12th position, a podium driver from Sonoma. 13th is going to be the 209 of Travis Dart. 14th position is going to be our points leader, Ken Campbell. 15th position is going to be the 66 of John Dart. Alongside him will be in the 16th position of George Kovacic. 17th place is going to be Brian Lynch after that major mistake there in qualifying in the 24 machine. 18th is going to be Nate Lynch. 19th is going to go to Aaron Hill, and rounding out that top 20 is going to be the 2 of Mike Lynch.
21st going to be that of Dylan Glass, with Steve Anderson going to be finishing out the 22nd position with Patrick Hasty, and a driver we haven't seen for most of the season. It's going to be that of Paul House in the 18, back racing with the Stars and Stripes Cup Series with that of Max Ward in 25th. Randy Corwell's going to be our race control here tonight with Jason Grattan back in 27th. A couple of surprise runners back here, Zach. Jason Grattan as well as Dylan Glass. Drivers I was not expecting to see here this far back in the field on this start.
Oh, no, and drivers that definitely are needing of points, especially Dylan Glass back there. He needs a good night, especially with Grimm and Trey Jackson out of this race. It's a crucial night for that driver in the 42 machine. Jason Grattan, too, definitely starting back there in 27th. He's going to have an interesting time there. Actually starting 26, sorry, because of our race control there, Randy Corwell. But still, that's going to be a tough night to start back there. And remember, no stops here again tonight with cautions unless there's a major incident to something to bring out that yellow, which is possible going through these S's. This track can get clogged up. It's happened before. But, man, it's something you normally don't see at road courses. So it's a tough night when you're starting that far back.
Yeah, it's not something that usually happens. But I would say for my broadcasting experience, it's a once every 8 races here at the Glen. There's a clog up here at the S's. It's usually at the top at this moment when you see a wreck happen. Drivers getting jam-packed in the most narrow part of the S's. And then they start getting clear. Sometimes the admins will throw a yellow. Other times, they'll just let them race it out. Again, there is no stage break officially. There should not be a need for throwing out a yellow unless the track is completely halted. There's no way to be moving forward. But up front, seeing that of Scott Rickard, as well as seeing that of Cameron Sarton, Kyle McCoy, Kyle Bowling, those top 4 drivers, they've been, I would say our top 3, I should say, have been very quick. Kyle Bowling used to be, I would say, going from last season into this season, very under the radar, always consistent up front. 5th currently in points, and for the 44, still looking for a win potentially, but I would say here is probably going to be the hardest climb if Kyle Bowling wants to get himself a win here at the Glen.
Oh, it's going to be a tough day to beat that 05 of Scott Rickard we've seen. And, hey, Kyle Bowling, the only other driver here at Stars and Stripes, though, to say he has led a lap at this racetrack. That's just kind of mind-blowing to think about here now. And we'll see if anybody in their 3rd attempt here, the Stars and Stripes League, can overtake that 05 and keep themselves there. It's a tough position to be in. But when you're out front, we'll see if Scott Rickard can manage it, because Sarton, he's definitely going to be a tough competitor here all night, I believe.
He's going to be extremely tough. But for the 12th race of the Cup Series, for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, presented by that of Sharp Apparel, well, it's time to see who can conquer the second road course of the season. Will it be Scott Rickard, Cameron Sarton, or someone else? We'll find out. It's the Sharp Apparel at the Glen, and we are green. It's going to be the 05 and the 13, going to be side by side going down in turn number 1. But it's going to be that of Scott Rickard, conquering early with the aggressive outbraking. They survive currently out of turn number 1.
Single file for the front 5 positions. Right now, it's going to be side by side back there around the 6th position with Timmy McNally trying to clear the 53 away as he does in the second S. It looks like it's single files from there on back, side by side action all the way back here around Aaron Hill. The 4 machines now. Everybody single files and come through the S's.
Everyone's going to be single file out as we head back out up front, going through the S's and into the bus stop. It was the 05 of Scott Rickard by over 4/10 of the entry, but out of the bus stop, gained a 10th. It's Cameron Sarton finding a little bit more speed on the entry and exit of the bus stop. But here comes out of the carousel. It's going to be Scott Rickard with the most speed going down into these final corners.
These final 2 corners are great setup corners for passes. If you can get close enough here into this final left-hander to the final right-hander here, it really sets you up for that pass down to 1. Turn 1, by far the easiest place to pass here. Right now, Scott Rickard got enough room where he's got no pressure right now. But I tell you what, it's so easy to make a mistake under breaking down to one if you just have a driver within 2 to 3 car lengths.
Timmy McNally coming through again. He is outside of the top 12 officially, but because of his win earlier in the season, the 88 is locked into the playoffs. So feeling comfortable where he's at right now with some other drivers that are outside looking in that need some incredible days. Derek Offerman, 19th in points. He needs to finish in the top 3, top 5, practically every single race from here on out.
Yeah, he has got to be flawless from this point. And maybe try to go get that win to really help out there. That'll push him through. But look at that, Chris Essery, a podium finisher from Sonoma. That 3rd place spot he got there. He moves himself up 1 spot there and takes that 11th place position. Was pretty quick in practice there, so I imagine Chris Essery here may be able to work his way forward. He's just got to stay methodical tonight. Is behind that is Ken Campbell in the 15. He's trying to go forward along with the 66 of John Dart and George Coates.
I know we have a fan favorite out there hoping for Travis Dart in the 209 to have some good runs, but loses 2 positions through the carousel and now following back into that of 15th, losing 2 spots as we ride on board with the 209 of Travis Dart. Get a sense of what it's like further back in the field. And Zach, we've noted on it, with the fact that Chris Essery performed so well at Sonoma, maybe not the best qualifying time for the 10 this go around at Watkins Glen. I mean, what is the big differences from going from a Sonoma to Watkins Glen for these drivers?
Yeah, it's actually completely different. I'd say on the complete polar opposite ends of what you could have a spectrum-wise for a racetrack when it comes to road course racing. This track very much a high-speed, flowing racetrack that it's very line sensitive. You have to hit your marks here, especially through those S's, to be able to carry the right amount of speed and have the right amount of grip going up through there. Now, Sonoma, very much more a track, I would say it's more about putting the power down and being very good at the low-speed corners. That track seems to have a lot more of those, whereas this track, you would compare this track almost to such as a Talladega or a Daytona-style road course where you are wide open for majority of the place around here. You're just hanging on to it at every moment, whereas Sonoma's a little bit slower. They're a little bit more methodical as a driver, so it fits drivers differently. You'll see drivers perform well there, and they don't perform that well here, and then you'll see the vice versa there. So it's definitely an interesting flow, but that's why I think these 2 tracks have been so famous on the NASCAR circuit.
We got to see a little bit of what the backside of the field was looking like. Well, here's what it's like up front. Our top 3 still within a second of one another, but it's the battle for second. Kyle McCoy pressuring that of Cameron Sargent, and Sargent's got to be careful. If he loses too much ground to that of Scott Rickard, you don't want to do that again. There is no plan for a yellow, and if we were going to see one, it's most likely going to be in that first lap. And now we see that of Kyle McCoy losing some ground. Didn't have the best exit out of the S's, but it's the draft, the pull that you can get into the corners that keeps the 13 still trying to hold on to the 05 of that of Scott Rickard.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation with this car here, especially. It's very much on the loose side, I would say. Going up through the S's, you're very much on the edge of the grip at every moment with the front and the rear end. But especially in dirty air, when you're following a guy through that set of corners, it is the toughest spot on this racetrack. Heading down here to the final 2 sections, it's not the hardest. Yeah, it is higher speed, but you're using a lot of brake. You're getting the car very much slowed down. Those lower speed areas are easier very much to follow. But it is just so tough. If you're close here heading down into this final corners, McCoy gets there but just cannot get close enough to make that dive move there down in the 1. But you'll see here through the S's, it's tough to follow. And this is also a place where you can burn your tires up very easily trying to follow in someone's tracks and keep up with them because you're just pushing the car that hard.
Well, you noted on it also during that qualifying, the drivers do look like they're going to be good on fuel to make it a 1-stop, but they do have 3 extra sets in pit road if needed. Come to pit road for multiple pit stops, but we're expecting a 1-stop race as further back a driver that is on my radar of a must successful finish in the top 10 at least tonight. Nick Holland at 8th place in the 68. It has been a climb all season, just trying to get into the top 12. Finally cracked in the top 12 point, but now going to be finding that of Nick Holland being pressured by the 33 of Burchett. Here, if you take a look at, this of Nick Holland, driver that's using VR here, as some drivers have that ability to race VR, gives them a different sense, sees the depth of field. For Nick Holland, he's 12th in points, technically that of Timmy McNally ahead of the 68 currently right now, would take that spot with the 88's win.
Yeah, and that's something that's got to be on Nick Holland's mind here as we check him out on that driver cam. It's cool to see the VR headset there. A lot of drivers with different setups all around, and that's the beauty of sim racing here. They just head down into one and actually look to the apex to get a good look at the corner there. And tell you what, he's been sliding around a lot there. He's got Brian Burchett giving him a lot of pressure, but Nick Holland, like you said, he needs good runs up to this finish. And man, I mean, coming off the season he had in that Xfinity Series, you would expect him to be right in the mix of the playoffs, but he has been right on the bubble and out of that picture for a long time here tonight. Is now behind him. Burchett took a look. It looks like he'll back out of it before that bus stop chicane.
Yeah, you can see the shaking and shimmering from that rearview mirror for there a second. As this battling, it continues to rage on. This is kind of a smaller field than usual. 26 drivers racing here at the Glen. A few new drivers popping up, like that Paul House, and see Burchett a little bit too wide. Exactly, note on there. Up, seeing that paved little bit of extra space for the drivers gives them space to stay on track and not completely throw this race away for themselves. But a few drivers were not here. I do want to give a birthday celebration to that of Andrew Medlin, who did not show up here tonight. He's actually in Mexico celebrating his birthday. So, hey, happy birthday from the crew here at Freaky Fast to that of Andrew Medlin, who, again, has a win already, so has the ability to just say, hey, I might miss a week.
Yeah, I think that's making that Kentucky win that much more special. Oh, you see McNally miss one and give up the spots there to Holland and the 33 of Burchett there. So McNally back 2 spots. Now it's going to be Travis Butt. Chris Esri directly behind him also. Not from. Oh, his butt slides across the nose of Chris Esri there. That could have been close as Esri goes around the outside of contact there. Oh, no, Sam. That was a little bit of contact. And somehow Esri saves it, but damage on the front of that nose from the hit to the wall.
Yeah, there was contact between that of Esri and Butt. Butt got into the outside wall through the S's. It bounced him off and tried to keep off the 10. Wasn't able to. Clips that of Esri. Esri gets into the walls there at the S's. And now the 10 has to recoup, rebound, and try to gain back 4 seconds that were just lost in that one incident.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. He thought he had that one spot going around the outside, and like I said, into the wall there. And such an interesting placement by the creators of Watkins Glen International. They decided, right in the most treacherous spot of the racetrack, we're going to make it the most narrow. And unfortunately for Chris there, it was that narrow spot of the racetrack, so he did catch damage by getting into that barrier. Luckily for him, though, he got pretty straight pretty quickly and only, like you said, lost about 4 seconds. So could have been a lot worse, but definitely was going to slow his progress down as he was moving through the field there at that point.
Yeah, it was one of our biggest movers before that incident happens. And some other big movers currently right now, as you see, this is Ken Campbell, the driver that dominated the first 3 races of the season. And Campbell hasn't made the victory lane since, but at least has been consistent. If he's not finishing in the top 5, he's out of the top 10. And that is one of the things that inconsistency, especially coming up to the playoffs here, don't want to be getting yourself in too much trouble with the 15 currently having 3 wins this season, 8 top 5s, 8 top 10s, trying to continue on with some good speed. But our biggest mover so far tonight, up 7 positions, the driver we haven't seen all season long, it's Paul House, Dr. House, up running well, up 7 positions to 17.
Oh yeah, he's moving on up through the field, up to that 17th position. And he's been doing a great job. Started back at 24th, man. What a great job there. And it really has got George Kovacik right directly ahead of him for the 16th spot. So I see him going up the order a little bit more because he's got next would be Aaron Hell, John Dart, and even Ken Campbell not that far up the road for this number 18 machine. Great debut for his season here this late in the going.
Yeah, and some other drivers that are further back trying to continue to move forward if possible, but some are still stalled out and really don't have the speed like I was expecting. Here's the 42 of Dylan Glass, who has been struggling currently right now for himself. But they're going into the inside wall through 1, and that's exactly where you don't want to be throwing your car away. And Dylan Glass just did that, and he's already struggling, going to be losing position after that contact. And oh boy, it could go worse if he's not careful here through the S's.
Yeah, this is a day where he just needs to get as many points as possible, and this has all gone upside down for him here now. He's going to have to recover. He does have that faster pair like we talked about. If it's that substantial, and it kind of looks like the toe has been knocked out of that car, at least from the way it looks like it's driving down the racetrack. We'll see if he can continue on with that type of damage. But man, tough break there for Dylan Glass, who with Grimm and Jackson not being there, he was one of the three that really, three drivers along with Travis Butt and Nick Holland that could have really took control of that. Those two drivers not being here and had a good chance of this, but he's got to get what he can here tonight, and then hope in the next three races he can get even more.
Yeah, and there's a few drivers that are really trying to just survive here tonight. A couple of drivers have been forced to go into pit road. Max Ward had issues out of the final corner, and the 59 is now in pit road after clobbering that of the water barrels. And so we'll see if Max Ward can get back out there again. Still has not used the fast repair. And as well, another driver, Patrick Hasty, into pit road. It looks like after a little bit of fiasco for that of the 9, comes in, gets fueled up, a little bit of damage repair for the 9 and back out on track. But our first official DNF of the day is going to be that of the 99 of Steven Anderson. As we take a look now at this, Christopher Wade currently in 6th place for the 53, only 8.8 seconds in growing from our leaders.
Yeah, and our leaders, man, they have been putting on a show. Kyle McCoy actually going for the 2nd spot down into 1. He's going to take the look, but the 13 closes the door. Cameron Sarton, he holds on the 2nd. I tell you what, this whole first 10 to 11 laps here have been these top 3 within a half a second. It is impressive that the 13 and the 7 have been able to stay in dirty air. And with how strong McCoy's looking here, as he looks to the outside and the top of the S's here, heading down to the bus stop chicane. Sarton, though, going to give him the spot, and that's probably the smart thing to do, is that 7 machine looking pretty sporty here late into this going.
McCoy, the driver that finished out 2nd last time they were at the Glen, and it was in the trucks, found himself just being, less than 10 seconds behind that of Scott Rickard, and we'll see if the 7 can come back from this. But what's interesting to see, the aggressive racing that's happening from our front 3, it actually was allowing 4th place Brett Summers to run just a little bit faster than our leaders. 17 is going to be someone to watch out for if our leaders continue to be slowing down.
Yeah, what a run for Brett Somers here, man. This 17, qualified 5th, has already worked his way up that 1 spot past Kyle Boland. And his pace right now, like you said, last lap by was quicker than the leaders. We'll have to see what it is compared this time. And the leader up front, Scott Ricker, a 1:14.42. And back to Brett Somers, a 1:14.51. So less than a tenth slower than our leader, Scott Ricker. That's just showing the pace in the 17. And, that personally, looking back, even at our Sonoma race from earlier in this season, that's kind of surprising. Did not have the greatest race there.
But you did note on it, Zach, the fact that the drivers that have, ran well at Sonoma might not be as fast when you, or could be even faster at this Watkins Glen. So there is a factor to watch out for as we take a look at the speed differences of the drivers of our 4th and 5th place runner, Brett Somers to Kyle Bowling. Get a sense of if Kyle Bowling's going to be gaining any time, and right now he's losing it. Somers is running away.
Yeah, Summers is really putting on an impressive show, but now we look back at the top 3. It's the 7 of Kyle McCoy. He's took that position for Sarton. Sarton's still right there, though. And I tell you what, Kyle McCoy closing in ever slightly here to Scott Rickard as they're going to come by to complete lap number 12 here. And the laps are just clicking away so quickly. And, if you're going to be doing a 2-stop strategy, that is going to come into factor really quickly here. You're going to see drivers start hitting pit road if that is the way they want to play it. But if you're going to go that long, cut it down the middle strategy here tonight, you're probably going to see those first pit stops maybe 24, 25 into this thing. So we'll see what they can do. But right now, I'm telling you what, Kyle Boland, the way his car is just looking, like he's got a little more grip than that 05 out front.
Kyle McCoy is on the charge, and certainly this 7 has got some speed as we run on the back bumper of Scott Rickard and get a sense of what it's like being hunted and hounded by 2 other machines. Cameron Sarton, also, with road course racing, you also say it about short track racing, it's a rhythm-based racing. You get into the zone of constantly trying to hit your marks and not trying to overshoot. And if you make a mistake, it kind of could throw you off for that whole lap and maybe even for 2 to 3 laps. So drivers are trying to make sure that they are not making any major mistakes. And right now, our front 3 are not doing that at all for that of 13 laps in, coming up 14 laps into this Watkins Glen race. They're still looking just as quick and as close as they were back on lap 4. 10 laps have changed, and they're still within that of a second of one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been lap times back and forth between these trio here, and that was the first time I really seen someone slide, and that was the 7 of McCoy there coming out of 1, and so we'll have to watch for those rear ends to start slipping around a little more, and we're seeing a little more separation through those S's, and that's going to come down to the mechanical grip of those Goodyear tires starting to go away. The rubber is starting to give to the road, and the grip level is dropping away for that top 3, so it's going to be tougher for them
Oh
to be that
no.
close. Oh, no, big mistake.
Saw a little bit of a scrub there by the 33, and as well, Aaron Hale on the front stretch saw a big blow of smoke from the 4 machine, and it is slow. Hard contact from earlier, and even now, the 4 machine has lost multiple positions, and this is kind of close to what that of Dylan Glass's day. Needed some good points, but now are all the way back in not even in the top 20 anymore. Is Aaron Hale or Glass?
Yeah, Aaron Hell is definitely, after missing last week, saying that is not putting me in a good scenario. So right now, he's going to have to get what he can. Luckily for his sake here, he does have, the 2 guys that are behind him in points not here tonight. But those other drivers that are right after that, Travis Butt and Nick Holland, they're actually having good nights running in 8th and 10th right now. So this is not the greatest situation for that 4 machine. As, oh, look here. This is Chris Essery and Travis Butt. This is for that 10th spot. Remember, Travis Butt was the one that got into that inside wall there going up through the S's and spun that 10. So we'll see if there's any love lost between these 2.
Well, let's try it one more time. They were this close when contact was made through the S's just a handful of laps ago. And now we'll see if Essery can be a little bit slower on the entry of the S's and gives the 000 a little bit more space, but see through the bus stop as well. Derek Offerman going to be tagging along with Essery here going into the bus stop.
Yeah, this is checked it all up here, and Offerman's come right into the picture with this and through this bus stop chicane. Great drive through it there for the 10 machine, but a good exit for that number 00 is now through the carousel. The big run for the 10 as he runs a little bit lower line. It should give the better exit though. And Travis Buzz uses them a little bit extra pavement and opens that gap up as they head down here to the final 2 corners. Essery definitely looks a little bit quicker right now, especially on the brakes, but Butt doing everything in his power to try to hold him back.
Going to be smooth in and smooth out, while on Essery's side, it's aggressive into the corners and hope that you've at least got enough momentum to carry out of the corner. It just isn't there. Travis Butt, you can see on the straightaway, just able to pull away and gap. And you can tell on the entry of the corner when you see Essery just hard on the brakes, jabbing it into the corner. And he's not able to get out of the corner as smooth as he wants to be, costing time as we hop on board with the 10. And Chris Essery, get a sense of going through the S's, trying to bob and weave, carry the momentum, and that's a good launch out of the corner. Here comes the 10 with the best chance to make a pass here down the backstretch.
Oh, and almost contact between them as they go side by side down into the bus stop chicane. Who's going to blink first? And it's going to be Travis Butt giving up that spot. Essery makes the move, but look, he's got to slow up the exit here to make the corner. Yes, he does. That is 10th spot there for Chris Essery. What a good drive back there after getting caught up with that incident with Butt earlier.
I mean, he had to really set up, come back, and those 4 seconds that were lost are all gained back, and now going to be attacking up to 10th place for the 10 machine. But how much more ground can be grabbed from that of Chris Essery? Will Travis Butt try to retaliate? Let's get this position back. Right on the back bumper is the 00. Not giving up on this battle and continuing to stay right on the 10's back bumper, coming out of the final corner onto the front stretch.
And down here in the 1 is where the 10 has really been breaking aggressive. We'll see if the 00 breaks a little bit harder. He's been a little more tentative down here, and you'll see the gap open up here down into 1. And yeah, that 10 just so much stronger on the brakes down into the corner. That lets him open up the gap here as he heads down through the S's, and he's hoping now that'll give him the breathing room he needs to possibly try to go up here and get Timmy McNally. I mean, that is a long way up the road for him, about 5 seconds, but we still got a long way to go in this race, not even halfway yet.
Yeah, and it's all about, trying to minimize those mistakes, as we're still a lot of racing to go, still looking for a lot of these drivers to make their first pit stop of the day. So we'll see who is going to be trying to make that first pit stop of those in the top 10, top 15, coming to pit road, get service done. Again, that is Steve Anderson, Max Ward, both drivers that are out of this race. Hoping to get back in at some point is Max Ward, but there was a lot of damage to the 59. Patrick Hasty went into pit road at one moment in the lap 6, but has been out on track for quite a while, feeling comfortable for the 9 back in 24th. Everyone else has not touched pit road yet, but there are some drivers with some major damage, Zach, that I'm a little bit concerned about on how long they will be staying in pit road to get that optional damage repaired.
Yeah, there's definitely some hurt cars on pit road. This place could put a hurting on them there, and looks like Max Ford, he's been sitting there pretty much since he's ever got in there, so he's gone those 9 laps down. But George Kovacic, though, we're looking at him right now. He started 16th, Sam. He's right now running 16th. He's kind of held station here, and it's got a clean race car. That's the key because, man, a lot of people, ask, people that run good at road courses, how do you run good here? What is the key to success at places like this? And you kind of pointed on it earlier. It's the mistakes, limiting those. It's, a full-length race here, 49 laps. It gets very much spread out. Those mistakes can mean everything. You don't get time back like you do at other tracks where, you can make a mistake on lap 10, and you'll have that caution to get caught back up into the action. Not usually happening here. This place, it gets strung out, and mistakes really come down to how your day plays out. And if you can limit those, even if you're not a good road course racer, you can salvage a very good finish that is very much ahead of your pace level.
Yeah, you minimize it by your own abilities to try not to overcook or destroy your type of a race, as we see that of 25 and Nate Lynch on track currently. Another thing we want to look on, threw it out there during qualifying, but even during this race, is the weather. Zach, it is fluctuating a lot for these drivers, but it's the track temp that is really catching my eye.
This thing is soaring hot right now. I mean, we've seen it in that qualifying session, 114 up to 121 now. That is 7 degrees of temperature gain here on this track just from all these race cars. That's 22 race cars. Really, right now, I believe still 24 drivers out there putting laps down around this racetrack, and that's just building the heat up each and every lap. And, man, I tell you what, the more that temperature raises up, the more tough it gets on these drivers. And right now, everybody from what we've seen has done a fabulous job, and you're starting to see the separation, though. The tire wear has really kicked in. We're getting near the end of this run, and you're looking at McCoy here. He's trying everything in his power to stay within Rickard. Rickard's draft there about 6/10 back, but look, Sarton's not that far back. I mean, this has just been the same picture for almost the past 7 laps now.
Yeah, it's been practically the same picture for quite a long time, and I'm also keeping the tracks on the laps that have been put down and the lap times. What is the differences between our leaders to those at the end of the line? Because for Scott Rickard, next driver he's going to be worrying about to try to potentially go a lap down is going to be a small little pack. There's 3 drivers that are collected with one another. It's going to be Aaron Hale that finds himself being about that of 15 to 17 seconds ahead of our leaders is this 4. But you got to be careful of what type of big moves could potentially be thrown away if lap traffic is in the way for our leaders.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen how, this track is very narrow. You can't escape a lot of places. If you have an incident with a couple lap cars racing up ahead of you and going up through the S's, there's not much place to go. And, there's some blind corners here. This place, just because, Scott Rickard has led every lap except for one here at Watkins Glen, and he's led every lap up to this point even now. You're not safe at this racetrack. Anything can happen, and Watkins Glen, like I said, it's more the super speedway style race. It's got a lot more risk involved with it with these high speeds, and when you're at a higher speed, you can't slow down as well, and that's why you'll see you're never safe at this racetrack. As now we check back in here with the 24 machine. He had that mistake in qualifying there that set him back to 17th. Right now running 19th, so not the greatest day for Brian Lynch, but hanging in there in this 24 right now still.
Yeah, Brian Lynch just trying to linger as much as he can and hope to see someone else have issues here tonight. Comes in 18th in points. Started that of 10 races this season. Only 2 top 10s so far for the 2014. We'll see if we can do any better at that. As move over to Mike Lynch, another one of those drivers that's trying to just have a good race. Mike Lynch has not been having a productive season for himself. He's only had one good race where he got a top 5 for this 2 machine, and that was gonna be back at Atlanta earlier this season. But besides that, it's been outside of the top 10 finishes for the 2, which kind of expected a little bit more from Mike Lynch this season coming in. I thought we were gonna see a couple of more top 10s this season, maybe even a few top 5s, but only one true good race for the 2 Besides that, he's just been trying to just make it to the end of the races with some of the bad luck that he's had.
Yeah, I mean, he's had those moments this season. He's never had the finishes to go along with those moments other than the one race. You got to feel for him. You know, he's had a lot of good runs, even comebacks. Says, "Ooh, look at this! Here's the 46. A Grattan slow here off of turn number 1. He is one lap down, back in that 22nd position, but looks like he's going to get it back going back up to speed as Kyle Bowling goes by in that 44 machine in that 5th position. Next, you'll have Christopher Wade there, who's going to look to get by the 46 machine. He's the lap car, but yeah, a little mistake there for Jason Grattan there into 1. It's going to set him back even farther.
Yeah, and Jason Grattan went back and watched it. He actually came into entry of turn 1, got loose out of the corner, overcorrected, and threw the 46 off track. We'll see if he's going to get out of the way for the 53, as he's going to go high, wide, and let that of Christopher Wade go on by. As Grattan just lingers back in 22nd position. And Zach, I mean, this is one of those, you know, when you get into the road course racing, it is difficult for some of these drivers further back. They know that they're not as experienced. A lot of these drivers are not experienced at road course racing. It's really only when we go to these NASCAR road courses where drivers get any type of road course experience. It's tough, especially with the, now we can call it the old Gen 6 Cup car. It is a difficult difficult car to slow down this brick and get into these corners, as we've seen multiple times.
Yeah, it's 3,400 pounds of just not wanting to turn right and left and stop. So, and putting the power down. You know, you have the 750 horsepower package in this race car. It has a lot of horsepower. When you go and press that accelerator, it wants to go. And it's a beast in itself, man. And it's such a different skill. You know, you can have road course guys that are good in a GT or, you know, open wheel car come over here and perform well. Take similar, you know, aspects from that type of racing to this car and perform well, but you really have to master this car. This car itself has its own niche, little things that you need to do to be able to, you know, really master the speed. And I tell you what, looking at the running order too, I went back and looked at it. Kyle McCoy had made a mistake down there to the bus stop, and he is now giving up that 2nd spot, and that's Cameron Sarton up to 2nd now, as Scott Ricker still with about a 2nd, almost back, just a little bit less than a 2nd back to Sarton there, who's really just keeping the pressure on here as they come out of 1.
Yeah, I mean, if Scott Rickard is not running a perfect lap, he is losing time to Cameron Sarton, who's behind, and might make a little bit of a mistake here or there, but they are making some great ground on the front runners. We do also want to give note, as we're seeing our leaders catching up to lap traffic, is, if we take a look here, Cameron Sarton's been gaining 3 out of the 5 previous laps. It's been a 13 gaining time, but lap traffic now going to be a factor. It's just Mike Lynch, Hale, and others that's going to slow down to 0.5. This is the best opportunity, Zach, to try to get by that of our leader, Rickard.
Oh, for sure here, man. This is, wow, that was in a terrible spot there for the 05 catching Mike Lynch, but Mike Lynch does a good job in the carousel, letting him get by. And they with Scott Rickard for catching that car there in the bus stop chicane. You figure he would have lost a lot more speed. He did a good job to navigate that very patiently and methodically, as now he'll have 2 more to do. That's going to be Aaron Hell right there, and along, I believe that's the 9 of Patrick Hastings.
And if you've been paying attention on our left side ticker, you've been seeing drivers head to pit road, and here they come, leaders into pit road. And Zach, they don't want to get caught speeding, and also pit road's on the opposite side of usual.
Yeah, you normally are turning left to get into your pit box. You're turning right here, so everything on the opposite side. And man, they you know, I thought lap 24, 25 was what it was going to come down to, and the leaders definitely wanted to get that pit stop done as soon as possible. And it's really due to that track position. You know, if Rickard goes on another lap there, and then you have the 13 starting to come in, he's going to jump him there due to that lap. And man, that would have been a huge track position loss. And I know that that's got to be what is in Scott Rickard's back of his mind, is not giving up that clean air, because he's had these guys hounding him the whole time. Who would say that, you know, if that 13 got out front, he may be able to pull away with the dirty air.
Yeah, maybe with a little bit of an undercut, maybe we've been able to get away, but now you got yourselves mired in even more traffic. But back here, I mean, I should say up here, excuse me, we're seeing our now current leader, actually Kyle McCoy, trying to lead some laps. And Zach, these are the rare moments when you're able to lead a lap, it seems like, over Scott Rickard.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is the time where you will probably get a lap led, and I believe that's how Kyle Bowling most likely led a lap during that race, was through the pit stop sequences. As here comes McCoy this lap here, this time to bring down the 7 machine. He's going to get that lap led when, or a second lap led when he crosses the start finish line. So he's going to take 2 away from Scott Ricker here today. So Scott couldn't do the perfection like he was able to pull off in the trucks, but close to what he could do in the Xfinity car here so far. But I got to give credit again to Brett Summers too. He's not far behind Kyle McCoy, he's heading down pit road alongside him here. So great run for that 17 machine.
More drivers into pit road. Kyle McCoy, Brett Summers, Kyle Bowling, and as well as all previously he's already pitted, Scott Rickard and Cameron Sarton, as Christopher Wade thought about coming into pit road, then the last decision decided to stay out for another lap. That could be hurting this 53 team, as other drivers that are coming into pit road going to be that of Chris Essery, and other drivers have already pit. Brian Burchett finishing out your top 10, going to be that of Nate Lynch and Travis Dart, expected to come into pit road this time by. And see this of Christopher Wade, still our leader, expected to come to pit road. And Zach, that late hesitation to stay out an extra lap could cost us 53 time. But yeah, I think he's trying to equate this with, I might lose some time staying on an extra lap, but this could be helping me on the long run with having fresher tires.
Yeah, a couple laps on your tires fresher is going to be nice. It definitely will be for Chris Wade. I mean, he took off on his 3rd lap, ran a 1:13.64. That last time by was a 1:15.80. So upwards of 2 seconds of fall off here throughout this first 27 laps of this race. And, you know, from what I've seen, though, once you get to about lap 20, though, you run about the same lap time. So, I mean, you're really kind of in that ballpark of the area there. And, you know, if you're someone like Chris Wade, I feel like this is just giving up ground. Yes, he's going to have the advantage, but at the end of the day, I think that undercut is going to be the most powerful thing here today with how much those tires plateau out.
Yeah, how much are you willing to lose, and do you have enough time to gain it back? Because right now, more drivers coming to pit road. Jason Grad's going to be finishing that off. We're still waiting to see these drivers finish out their times, as right now, it is Christopher Wade, the last driver we're expected to see coming to pit road.
Yeah, we'll see if he flinches the next time to come down. But you're looking now, it's the 2nd place battle. That's the 13 of Cameron Sarton. He's in 3rd. Up ahead, it's Scott Ricker. This will be the lead when the 53 finally decides to hit pit road. Great job by these two to jump out ahead here. And I tell you what, they've got a sizable gap back to that 7 of Kyle McCoy, around 7 seconds. And that is just 1 extra lap of staying out. So you know Christopher Wade, he's going to lose a considerable amount of time here also.
Trying to make sure that Wade at least has something to come back to, as we're still seeing this battle, and you won't miss anything, as we're going to step aside, go non-stop racing action. When we come back, we take you to the end here at the Sharp Apparel at the Glen for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, presented by Sharp Apparel. Well, we told you weren't going to miss a thing, and it has been exactly the same. There's been a couple of close calls for our front two, Scott Rickard, as well as that of Cameron Sartin. Within a half a second of one another, there's still that of lap traffic ahead. It's going to be that of George Kovacic, going to be the next driver for our leaders to worry about. But they've kept it this close as you are watching the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel at the Sharp Apparel at the Glen here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall as we got Robert Moyer running all the productions behind. Zach, up front, it's been an amazing race to watch, but I know there's been some misfortunes for drivers further back.
Yeah, a little bit of misfortune for a driver that really needs a good night for sure, and that's the 42 of Dylan Glass. Looks like made a mistake going through the carousel, then just missed that turn number 7 and just could not get the car stopped and had to bring that thing down to pit road. And from there, it has just been sitting on pit road now, 5 laps down, back in his 24th position. Doesn't look like he can lose any more spots after that due to Max Ward out of this race still on pit road, and Steve Anderson pulling the car back to the garage. So it looks like that number 42 has called it a day, and that's tough for him. He needs every point he could get, and to just call it quits like that, it's got to be a tough day for him.
I mean, it's even tougher when he's already used his fast repair and kind of stuck with the damage that he's got. Felt like it was not safe enough to continue to race on. As we're seeing this, the Tim McNally, a driver that's on his own, just trying to run in 11th place, hoping to try to catch up to that of Chris Essery, who's in 10th. And also trying to hold on to this 11th place as Derek Offerman is slowly starting to catch up. But we're going to move back up front to our leaders because there's lap traffic once again. And Scott Rickard, Cameron Sartin, they've got to figure out how to get by Kovacic. And it looks like Kovacic runs high, gets out of the way. Very clean pass for our leaders for what could have been a dangerous moment for both of them.
Yeah, it could have been disastrous. They're stacked up on top of each other catching a lap car. It's always, easy to make that wrong decision there as we hop on board here. As we head down to turn number 1, you can see the lap times there. Scott Rickard able to, pretty much beat out, that number 13 one time. But other than that, that 13 has been on it, man. And, Scott Rickard's been on the 13 able to beat him out there one time. So it's tough. Sartin's been close. He had almost one attempt there as he was right against the back bumper, but now about 5 to 6 car lengths back behind us so far.
Yeah, we're starting to see what kind of was the first 15 laps of this race, where Cameron Sartin would back off and try to linger in. But you can see in the mirror when they enter the bus stop, the 13 is there. And once again through the chicane, one of the better entries into the chicane, and now is right on the back bumper of the 05. Cameron Sartin in the 13s trying to close in the gap, but it's the exit of the carousel where we really see the 05 just pull away from that of Cameron Sartin.
Yeah, that 13 excels in the bus stop. He really carries a lot more speed than that 05 through there. Is able to get to the back bumper, but like you said, out of the carousel, the 05 Scott Rickard able to put down the nice power there coming out of the corner, and always able to build a gap. And also, out of the final corner there, he always opens up the gap. That gives him the space here to head down the 1 to have less pressure. When you have a driver right on the back bumper, that's when you see mistakes heading down to turn 1, because you're going to try to outbrake yourself. You got to push it farther to where they cannot go to the inside, because anytime a driver gets to your inside down there in the 1, they have that advantage heading off into that corner. So you always want to defend that. Scott Rickard, though, doing a great job of making the corners that he needs to be fast in his best corners, while this 13 very quick right here through this bus stop. He's able to close the gap down here. You'll see it again. Look at this, close all the way back down, right to the back bumper of this 05. But every corner where the traction comes down to playing it out and getting off the corner, this 05 is the considerable bit better.
Well, that's probably one of the best carousel runs I've seen for the 13 for the past couple of laps, but overextends, goes into the offshoot to try to get some more speed potentially into the second to last corner. Here comes Scott Rickard trying to hope that he can get a little bit more speed out of the corner, but Sartin's keeping it the close that he's been, and this might be the best opportunity on the front stretch, trying to utilize a little bit more of this speed. But that final corner, just not the best launch. A little bit of a shimmy from the 13, and he's too far back for an opportunity here.
Yeah, about a car and a half back there. It's just like you said, a little bit too far. If you can get within a half a car, you can make that maneuver to try to, at least make that driver think about it. You'll see drivers attempt that little bit of a bluff to look inside to make you look up in your mirror and maybe outbrake yourself and miss that corner. So Didn't do it there, but I tell you what, a great job by starting there as he's able to stay close through the S's here. This is critical for him because he's been better through the bus stop. He may look to the inside here, does not do it, had the chance to do it, but does not look to do it here. So he's going to stay nice and close and tucked up here. Can he set something up to go into the carousel?
Well, the big issue for why he could not make the pass into the bus stop is the fact that the way that Cameron Sarton likes to enter into that corner, he likes to take it wide, have a very sharp corner into practically the closest to the inside wall, and tries to cut as much as possible to save it and carry the momentum through. And it's just not working the best they can right now. And right now, Zach, I mean, it's looking like for Cameron Sarton, he might have to put the bumper onto the 05 if he wants to even try to make a mistake out of that of Scott Rickard.
Yeah, and you got to question, how much is the 05 managing this? I would think the management has gone out the window with how close Sarton is able to get here as he closes right into the back bumper. While all this is even going on to, directly behind him, it's the number 7 of Kyle McCoy. He is about a 10th quicker the last time by, about 4.6 seconds back. If something was to happen between these two up front, they start getting in a little bit of battle. It starts slowing them down. This number 7 is not that far away. Still cannot forget about Kyle McCoy here. Remember, he's got clean air this time also. Doesn't have to worry about following in that dirty air.
Yeah, clean air, an extra also lap of fresh tires, but is the tires the reason why the 7's gaining time? And really, is it the mistakes that's going on? And speaking of mistakes, I was watching the leaders. Starting not the best exit, got a little sideways, lost about a half a car length, and now they're catching up to lap traffic again. Patrick Hastie's giving the next driver as it's anything and everything. Sarton trying to maximize the speed out of the corner.
Yeah, he's using every bit of asphalt here at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. He's trying to get grip here in places that not normally you would go. And, man, he's able to get within 2 car lengths here. But, again, that final corner is where Scott Rickard has been very strong and been able to either keep even with that 13 behind or just be a little bit quicker. So, again, this time by about 2.5 car lengths there back to that 05 as they're going to head up to the S's. And that time by Kyle McCoy a little bit slower than our leader, so lost a little bit of a gap there to the front up there. But, man, like I said, if anything happens between these two, he is within striking distance to have something happen. So don't let him get out of the picture here because we're going to have a battle, I believe, coming down here to the very end of this race.
It's 13 laps to go, and coming up to that of Ken Campbell and John Zart is going to be our leaders as they're about that of 10 to that of 13 seconds away from catching up to this next pack in front. And really, we're going to be seeing, can we, Scott Rickard, Cameron Sarton, if they have any lap traffic that is battling for position and not willing to give up space for our leaders, that's when I'm going to get a little bit more concerned for that of Rickard and Sarton and maybe give a little bit of a chance for that of the 7 of Kyle McCoy. But this is the group that our leaders are catching up to. This is the current battling that's going on for 4th place. You got John Zart, Ken Campbell battling for 14th position.
Yeah, and each lap car you get to is a little bit quicker than the last usually. So we're going to have to see where do they catch the lap cars is critical. As you can see, there's the leaders coming out of 1 as we're looking at the 66 John Dart. Scott Rickard is going to have Cameron Sarton within about 5 car lengths of him as they catch up to him heading through the S's. It's most likely looking like they'll catch him around the carousel, maybe right after that. But, man, Scott Rickard, he's navigated lap traffic well so far. We'll see if he can continue to do that. But like I said, each one gets faster and faster as they go.
Right now, 12 laps to go in this race, and for drivers up front, they've got to be careful because it's also going to be that of John Zart. We saw Travis Dart having some internet issues. Now also going to be John Zart with some issues to watch out for. Can get scary if you're catching up the lap traffic and then they disappear on your screen. That it should be something that we're hoping is cleaned up before our leaders catch up to. But you saw it there. That's going to be something that kind of gives a little bit of hesitancy on where you want to place your car.
Oh, and it can take your focus away and make you make that critical mistake that allows that 13 to get even closer than he wants. So we'll have to see if Scott Rickard can navigate this well. But, yeah, he's going to have John Dart there. A little bit of blinky blink up ahead of him, and hopefully that all goes well for him. So nothing can alter this race, and these guys can battle it out down to the end. And right here, though, he's going to have the dirty air. So this is going to be a toughest position for him. Hasn't really experienced this too much tonight.
Here comes Scott Ricker through that of the S's onto the backstretch. Will he have enough speed? Will John Dart just back off? Because John Dart's still close enough to Ken Campbell. It's not like you've got a full second or more where some lap cars will just pull to the side, let off the gas, and let the leaders go. You got to battle. Position is right in front of the 66, but what a crossover move. Here comes Scott Ricker to the inside.
To the inside he goes. He's got the 05 or the 13 directly behind him, almost one car length as they come out of the carousel here. As he opens it up, the gap again, just such a great exit out of that carousel is Sarton. Good through the bus stop, just not able to get the traction down like that 05 as they're going to be heading next to Ken Campbell. And, it's going to be a little bit easier, I believe, here for that 05 machine to get by Ken Campbell as he is not having no connection issues.
And Campbell comes in as our points leader, but here at Watkins Glen, just trying to get any points possible. As Scott Ricker second in points, leader currently, the dominator, you could say, of Watkins Glen in road course racing. If there's been a road course, it's been won by the 05, and he's going to try once again. But Ken Campbell holding strong. They're going to be in line, single file through the S's.
Oh, and look at this. This is the closest we've seen Scott Rickard have to follow a car through the S's all night long here. He comes up to the back of Ken Campbell, looks to the outside, heading down here to the bus stop chicane. It's going to be a run from Sarton. He blocks to the inside of that 05 machine. It's going to be side by side down here to the bus stop. What can they make happen as the 05 holds on to the position? The 13 looking to make something happen here, maybe into the carousel.
Best opportunity was there, and now carousel going to be riding out just about a car length too high through the carousel. This is going to be losing some time through the center of the corner, but off exit, the 13 not able to get onto the throttle as quick as possible, and now going to be losing slight ground. And with this battling, the 7 was not able to grasp on these leaders. They were battling so hard, Zach. They technically didn't even lose any time. They're still flying around here at the Glen, coming around the corner, coming up to 9 laps to go here at the Glen.
Oh, it's going to take a travesty for one of these two not to be battling for a top spot up here. They are really, like you said, starting to open that gap back up to Kyle McCoy there behind, who did gain a little bit with that battle, but not very much at all. As Sarton is, he had such a close chance there to make the move. He thought better of it there, though. Then they go side by side through that corner. It's such a tough one to do there in that bus stop chicane, and he decides better of it. But you're looking here at the 17, Brett Somers here in the 4th position. He's only got about 5 seconds back to Kyle Bowen, who's actually been making a considerable charge into that gap. And tell you what, for Bowling and Somers, they've had quiet days, but 4th and 5th, I'm sure if they can take home those positions, they'll be very happy with that.
Oh, ecstatic with these types of finishes for that at 17 and 44, where they're at right now. For Brett Somers, who missed out on last week, he would lost 4 positions in the points, went from being up 13th in points last week, fell back to 17th this week. So hoping to get those points back to give himself a chance. Again, we've got 3 more races after this. We've got Darlington going to Gateway, and then Talladega to finish out the regular season before playoff racing action, where 12 drivers will hunt for championship. Scott Rickard, who's leading this race, he's feeling the most confident of all of them. 8 laps to go as the 05 has gapped himself from that of Karen Sarton. And Zach, that last move on the backstretch for the 13, you could tell that was the last hurrah, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, just tires starting to give away here. Possibly going to maybe try to cool him down in this final 8 to see if he can make one final dash back to him here. But tell you what, while all this has been going down, there was definitely some drama playing out through the field. We know Travis Butt, Chris Estrie, they've had their battles today. Well, those battles continued on. They made more contact down in the turn 1, ended up Travis Butt sending him off racetrack into the middle of the quarter into Chris Estrie, and both of those drivers losing considerable amount of time. Estrie still able to hold on to that 9th spot and really, really hold position due to how much of a gap there was, but the damage is considerable. While Travis Butt, he's dropped all the way back to 12th, and Paul House is closing in on him.
Paul House, Dr. House, going to be trying to make a pass. Currently, the biggest mover of the day is this 18, up 11 positions, trying to make it 12. Maybe get by the 00, but Travis Butt blocking, defending, and I think recognizing cannot lose any more positions. Need every point possible, but Paul House to the inside, not able to get into the throttle too soon, and Travis Butt defends for at least corner number 1.
Yeah, that was a heavy defense there as House has been closing in. like you said, Travis Button needs everything here tonight. There is no give up in points. He has to get everything he can, especially with Nick Holland there up in the 8th spot. That's a driver there that he'll be battling all the way coming down to the end. He cannot lose points to those guys. And right now, he's had a good night here along for, Ripworks. He said this was going to be the struggle, the thing he needed to get through here in the final 4 weeks. If he can come out here with this top 12, I think that would be a good spot. But 13th, yeah, he's going to lose some points dropping back to there if he does. But still, that gives him a better spot due to Trey Jackson and Dylan Grimm not being here tonight.
Well, we talked about that. Brett Sommers, Kyle Bowling having some great runs. We're going to move up for the battle for 5th place because it is on Christopher Wade, who decided to stay out as far as he could to get the best tires. Zach, those tires are finally kicking in. He's got an opportunity to get up into the top 5. It's 53.
Yeah, personally, Sam, I'm mind blown by this. This strategy is played out very, very well for him. It seems like there's 2 ways to go about this. Either you pit early, or you pit really, really late, like Christopher Wade did, and both of those can work out. Seems like those strategies right in the middle of that were not the ones that have worked out for people. So Christopher Wade right here driving up to the top 5. What a night it's been for him, up from that 7th starting position up to 5th. And for Kyle Bowling, he's been in that top 5 all night. That's got to be a little bit disheartening to lose that top 5 with only 6 laps to go.
Losing the top 5, and as well for our leader, got to be careful as we're moved back up to the 0-5, where Travis Butt has been passed by Paul House, but now for Scott Rickard, he's got to be careful. He's got lap traffic in front of him, and Cameron Sartin now less than a second once again.
It looks like Travis Butt, they're going to pull high, let him go by in the carousel. Nice job getting out the way there for our 2 leaders up front for the 00 Travis Butt. But again, that gap, it's still sizable back to the 13 of Sartin, but it's still something. If that 05 slips up, the 13 will be there very quickly, so he cannot still lighten up yet as he's still got Paul House to go.
And this is why it's so difficult to keep our eyes away from our leader whenever they catch up to lap traffic. Yes, lap traffic's getting out of the way, but like you noted on, Zach, each driver that gets put a lap down, they're just a little bit faster. Might be a little bit harder to get by, but I think everyone's recognizing, and big credit to the Stars and Stripes Cup Series on the fact that all the drivers that are a lap down, recognizing leaders there, I want to get out of the way.
Yeah, and great job there by Paul House to get out of the way of Scott Rickard, but it's going to hold. I believe that 13 up a good bit there, having to go around the outside, but luckily the 13 does a good job of not losing too much time. They're having to go offline, and now going to head down this back straightaway here to the bus stop chicane, where they're going to have a few more lap cars directly ahead of Sammy Offerman and Timmy McNally, who are having to battle themselves off track right now up ahead. And this could get a little interesting as we got 5 to go coming to 4. These lappers could play a factor.
Yeah, I mean, you got these lappers, and then just that of 5 seconds ahead of Derek Offerman is going to be that of Chris Essery, who's been a pinball machine all over the place here today. So there's still a lot of racing action with 5 laps to go. Our leader's day, it's not smooth sailing just yet, as it just gets more and more difficult as the racing and the laps go on by. Out of the final corner, 4 laps to go, and you can see for that of Scott Rickard, Cameron Sartin, they're wanting this battle to finish out as clean as possible. You don't want to rough each other up too much, but you can get a sense that for the 0-5, he would hope that there was no more lap traffic ahead of him.
Yeah, Scott Rickard here trying to get that 3rd win here at Watkins Glen. He was hoping it'd be a little bit easier here in these final 4 laps, but going to have to navigate at least, I'd say, 2 more cars at most here. And he's done a good job, though, of opening that gap up. It's been a better run this time for him of, I think, conserving his tires and really managing that gap he had to 2nd and keeping that driver behind him directly in that dirty air to really hurt those tires as we're going to be coming to 3 to go as they come out of the carousel. Scott Rickard, I mean, what a performance again here at Watkins Glen. It's going to be 3 laps to see if he can get it done for the 3rd time.
Trying to get himself another win at the Glen. Today's race sponsored by that of Sharp Apparel, as it is the Sharp Apparel at the Glen as well. Title sponsor with that of Stars and Stripes Cup Series here this season for season 4. But here it is, it's on, coming out of the final corner, 3 laps to go, and Timmy McNally drops down, gives the space, recognizing that he did not get the good enough run. And now they're going to stay side by side, but once again, it's Cameron Sartin who's going to have another lap car in between him and Scott Rickard, as now Derek Offerman is going to be the next driver in line for our leader.
Wow, and I tell you what, right now, the cloud coverage has moved in here to Watkins Glen International Raceway with 3 to go here. The clouds have come out. The track's cooling off. We're down to 115 degrees, so the speeds are starting to pick up a little bit more than what they were in that last run. But right now, Scott Rickard trying to navigate through lap traffic. He goes to the inside of Offerman here. Big maneuver with 3 to go, and that could have been a risk as Offerman. He's going to blow the bus stop chicane as now the 13 gets by Timmy McNally, and the 20, Scott Rickard taking no chances. He says, I was not trying to wait behind the lapper.
Made a big credit to Derek Offerman. He knew that he was going to be giving up time to Timmy McNally, but with going through the bus stop and just parking it, also lost position to that of Paul House, who now moves up 13 positions from where he qualified. But big kudos to lap cars. They've been getting out of the way, making sure they were not influencing today's race. And for that of Scott Rickard, he is feeling good. 2 laps to go here for the 05. Trying to win at the Glen again, and also trying to go for win number 3 this season.
Oh, yeah, trying to get that 3rd win this season, 3rd win at Watkins Glen. It's going to be a trifecta here possibly for him as he heads up through the S's for the penultimate time tonight. He has been picture perfect, has had pressure from lap number 1 to lap 49 here. He has not been able to get away from majority of this race. Finally, though, has a little bit of breathing room in these final 2 laps.
The gap is about a second right now. The draft keeps where Cameron Sard can gain in just periodically on the back stretch, but you could just tell these laps are ticking away, dwindling away. And for our leader, got to say he's feeling good for himself. There is going to be one more lap car. It's going to be Mike Lynch, but expecting the 2 to just get out of the way coming the second to last corner. And as well, there is the 10, but that's if these drivers make mistakes on their own. But coming through the second to last corner, Scott Rickard's been feeling good. He's been confident. He's led practically every single lap here today. Christopher Wade led a couple of laps, some other drivers as well. But out of the final corner, coming to the freaky fast white flag, it's going to be Scott Rickard leading by that of just over a second over the 13 of Cameron Sart.
1 lap to go here down into turn 1 past the 2 of Mike Lynch's, the 05 and Scott Rickard. Now the 13 of Cameron Sart looks to navigate his way through as they head up to the S's here for the final time tonight here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway. It's going to be 1 lap car up ahead of Chris Estrie. I don't think they're going to get to him, and that's the teammate of Cameron Sart, but don't think he'll play any games here on this final lap as they head down to the bus stop for the final time.
Final time down the backstretch. It's going to be that of Scott Rickard, Cameron Sart, and they were of less than a second. But into the bus stop, it's where the strength of 13's been all race long. Gets it down to 8/10, but that's as close as it's going to be. Scott Rickard through the carousel, where the strength of the 05's been all race long, and now going down into the second to last corner. 1 more car ahead. It's the 10 of Cameron Sart. He's too far ahead to influence our leader unless the 10 wrecks here and throws away a chance for that with Scott Rickard, but it doesn't look like it. Everyone hitting their marks, feeling clean, and out of the final corner here for the Sharp Apparel at the Glen. 3 wins at the Glen for that of Scott Rickard, and 3 wins this season. The 05 back into victory lane.
What a drive from Scott Rickard. 3 for 3 here at Watkins Glen and 4 for 4 here at Stars and Stripes when it comes to road course races, and 2 for 2 this season. I mean, you got to say, when it comes to a road course, there's no one you probably should bet on other than that 05, and he proved it again here tonight, Sam.
But if you look at the pattern, Scott Rickard's got to be feeling a little bit uncomfortable going in these next couple of seasons because the gap that the 05's had every single time he goes to a road course just shrinks more and more each race. The closest finish at a road course for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series by 1.3 seconds was the difference. Cameron Sart came up shy, but the winner, Scott Rickard in the 05. This is a win that's kind of a game changer for that of Scott Rickard. This win now is going to tie him with the most wins this season with Ken Campbell, and also going to be closing in the gap a little bit more. Looking at the points, this actually could be giving Scott Rickard the points lead going into next week at Darlington.
Yeah, I think it is going to shift it over to his hands of that points lead. So great night there, and then they head off into Darlington. 3 races to go in these regular seasons, man. It's been a fun regular season so far. I can't wait to see how we close out these final 3. And Scott Rickard, though, He's looking to build some momentum here as he lost the points lead a couple weeks ago. Now going to get it back in his hands here as he's going to come down to celebrate on the front straightaway.
Well, we said at the top of the broadcast, 4 races to go. Well, now we got 3 more races to go in the regular season as this race at the Glen goes to Scott Rickard. And as the 05 gets to burn it down, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have our top 3. Kyle McCoy, Cameron Sargent, Scott Rickard up in the booth. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Freaky Fast Broadcasting post-race show for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, presented by that of Sharp Apparel. For the Sharp Apparel at the Glen, the winner, once again, is Scott Rickard, but we've got our top 3 up in the booth. Let's start things off with third place finisher, that of Kyle McCoy. Kyle, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. We saw you racing up front there with our other 2 drivers in the early portions of this race, but then later on, lost touch, had some mistakes. But overall, third place finish, not too bad here at the Glen. But from your point of view, how was tonight's race?
Yeah, can't complain. Those 2 guys were just they were just gone. I mean, to be honest with you, they're fast. Tore my tires up a little bit on that first run and kind of lost some and made a mistake in what I think probably should have undercut them. And at the last second, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever they don't do, and I stayed out, and that bit me in the butt bad. So I shouldn't have done that. Should have gone with my gut there. But I was just trying to get off strategy, I guess, a little bit from what they were doing. I made up some ground early in that second run and couldn't quite get back there, but Yeah, it's just you got to be absolutely on your game, perfect. And to be honest with you, I didn't have a bad night. I only had two X's. I only had two places where I like did the wheel off, and I was pretty on my game. They were just faster. So congrats to those guys. They ran a great race.
Yeah, it definitely was a great race from our perspective up in the booth, man. You three really put on a battle all night here tonight, and man, I tell you, it seemed like just the track position was so vital there. You know, Scott was able to hold that lead, but it just seemed like it was flip flopping from there on back. I mean, how tough was it to with that dirty air here tonight and be able to follow the car up ahead?
Oh yeah, it's crazy, and it's yeah, almost less dirty air and more just like you can't find a good place to stick your nose where it shouldn't be. It's hard. It's just hard to pass. I mean, when you get to the inside or outside or somebody, you got to run such a better corner than they do to really gain that position. So it's just I've got Cameron once early in that first run, and I killed my tires doing it, and that's why I dropped off there after that because it's just you're right. The track position is huge. I think everybody knew that race was going to be won in qualifying, and Scott just laid a blazer of a lap. Because yeah, track position super key here, which you wouldn't think at a road course. Obviously, you got to still run 49 clean laps, but yeah, it made a huge difference. It's hard to get those guys, and Scott could kind of stay up there and gauge what we were doing. He had a little bit extra in the tank, I think, but yeah, yeah, it was tough to pass for sure.
Oh, Kyle, we're coming up to three very different tracks. We've got that of Darlington, Gateway, and Talladega. How you feeling about these next three?
Super excited, honestly. Darlington's my favorite. I love Darlington. I'm very excited for that one. Gateway, when nobody knows what to expect, right? That's kind of near my home, so I'm kind of excited to pull out a little extra practice and figure out how we're gonna be fast there. And Talladega is just a crapshoot. Who knows what the package is gonna be like? We got to squeeze Travis in the playoffs here somehow. He's still floating right around the bubble, so we got that one circled on our calendar there to try to maybe sneak one of us in. But yeah, excited about these next three races. They're good tracks for me. We'll see if we can gain a couple spots next week.
And we can't wait to see what you do as third place runner. Going to be that of Kyle McCoy. And before we let you go, Kyle, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to my teammates Brian and Travis. Brian and I put in a ton of work this week. Figured out, and we came home. I think three top 13 finishes. This might be a first for us this week or this year. So we will take that and run with it. Uh, yeah, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Gonna enjoy going back and watching this. Thanks to Nate and Derek and Brian and everybody that puts the league on. They do a fantastic job. Thanks to Max Ward and Sharp for sponsoring this thing tonight. Sounds like they'll be on next week too. So go check them out. They got some cool stuff out there. So definitely thanks to him for sponsoring the race. And yeah, we'll see you next week, boys.
Going to be Kyle McCoy in the seven, coming away with third place finish. And good luck going to that of Darlington next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you there.
As now we go to second place runner, get out of Cameron Sarn, who had many a close attempts to try to make the pass, but came up shy. Cameron, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You came up close. You had a few moments where we thought maybe you could try to make a pass on that 0-5, but just weren't close enough. What else could you have tried out there?
Well, I'm not really sure. I felt like I was giving it my all. I knew kind of after that first run that I kind of fell back a little bit. Kyle let Kyle by after I messed up, and then I closed back the gap pretty good there. So I was like, on older tires, I'm pretty solid. It's just so hard to pass and not spin your tires or spin out. So I was kind of content, and then I kind of lost a little bit the last 8 or so laps and couldn't quite get it back up. But I was looking for rooms to bump them wide, but it just didn't unfortunately happen.
Yeah, it was a great battle, Cameron. I gotta say congrats on second, man. It was fun to watch all night. You guys do battle there, and man, it seemed like your strength here tonight was through that bus stop, man. You were able to really close the gap down each time. A couple car links right to the back bumper, right there, heading down into that carousel. But it seemed like Scott's strengths were those exit and being able to gap you where into those heavy braking zones you didn't really have. You weren't close enough to make that move. How tough was it tonight to be able to be quicker in that in certain spots, but also trying to make up that gap with him getting really good exits all night long.
Yeah, it was tough. I knew I was fast in the bus stop there. I was kind of, after those first 10 laps, I was like, wow, I am flying through here compared to the other two. But I couldn't get to second gear and come off as smooth as Scott could. So I was just third gear, just nice and smooth, which kind of helps save the rears a little bit, but every time I tried to find something a little bit different to keep up with him and, try and make a move, it just didn't quite work out. My rear tires did not like it. So I was pretty content there in second. Tried a couple things, weren't working, but it's a lot better to not throw your race away and finish second than it is to, back in 10th or wherever it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, a second place finish is still good momentum. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. How much is that starting to loom over your mind of playoffs are right there?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for sure. Got a good team behind me. So, Kyle and Scott are, right pretty darn fast. So it's gonna be fun. I don't really know what to anticipate, but we'll kind of see what happens, and definitely helps going. I didn't like a couple tracks that we went to, especially Rockingham. I am terrible at that place, and unfortunately missed Charlotte. But we'll see what happens in playoffs. They're all pretty decent tracks, so it's gonna be fun, especially for y'all up there.
And we're excited for it up in the booth, and we're excited to see what you guys are going to bring. But for tonight, congratulations on second place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to my wife, mom and dad, and grandparents for watching. Appreciate it. Shout out to Travis for getting me through the bus stop at a fast rate, along with John and Chris and the Dubmaster Racing team. And hopefully we can get one of them in victory lane here soon and get another one in the playoffs. And shout out to y'all guys. Y'all do a great job, and thanks.
That's going to be Cameron starting in the 13, going to come away with the second place finish here tonight. And good luck going to Darlington next week.
Thanks, boys. See you next week.
And now we head down to victory lane. Going to be now tied with the most wins this season. The Dominator, I would say, at road courses. He keeps on doing it. Once again, Scott Rickard back in victory lane at the Glen. Scott, you did it once again. Dominated. You had a lot of pressure this go around than previous road course races. How was it though on track?
Pretty fun. I kept honest, and I just didn't want to go off the track at any point.
Yeah, Scott, you definitely had a pretty flawless night up front from our point of view, man. Definitely had the pressure all night long. So how tough was it to manage that? I mean, you had multiple times there where you had pressure, especially heading off through the carousel there with the 13 just being really, really strong. It seemed like at the bus stop all night, but it seemed like your strengths were getting off of really that final corner, not allowing him to get close enough heading down the one. So how did you manage that all night? And was that kind of the plan up front?
Yeah, just making sure I didn't let him by and have to try to pass him back, and also not making any mistake by myself at any point trying to do that.
Well, Scott, we know that you are always fast and quick at these road courses, and we also know you always seem to find your way to victory lane multiple times throughout the season. How much was it? Can you give victory to both your skill and also knowing that your dog's out there helping you out?
She was making some noise during that one part of the race. I'm like, can you quiet down? I don't want to hear this right now. It's not the time.
Oh,
I think she was chasing a dog or something in her dream.
having fun. Well, Scott, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Our red team and my dog.
That's going to be Scott Rickard getting yourself another victory here at Watkins Glen. Congratulations, Scott, and good luck going to Darlington next week.
Thank you.
Well, Zach, Watkins Glen, this was, I think we both were expecting, the outcome that we got at the end of Scott Rickard going to victory lane, but man, was it closer than I think either one of us could have imagined.
Yeah, you brought it up, Sam. The gap keeps closing down year to year here, and it seems like road course race to road course race. So you never know. Next time these guys come back to Watkins Glen, Scott Rickard may be having to, try to come back from a deficit. So definitely, we've seen it. I mean, it's 4 times now in a row for him road course races. He is the guy to beat. But I tell you what, that competition, that keeps getting a little bit stronger each and every time. And when your competition gets better, it's always tough to stay out in front.
I mean, definitely. Cameron Sarn, probably, you could say, rookie of the year. First, he came in this season with someone to watch out for. You thought maybe Cole Sacchetti was also going to be another driver to watch out for, but it's been Cameron Sarn week after week. The rookie has done a great job, and once again, second place finish for 13. And for that, Scott Rickard getting himself a win. Well, we're going to take a look at the unofficial finishing results here at the Sharp Apparel at the Glen. here tonight for that of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. Getting the win, going to be that of Scott Rickard with Cameron starting in second place. Kyle McCoy going to be our top three. Get to talk to all of them. Thank you again for all of them joining us. With Brett Sommers, Christopher Wade going to finish out our top five. Kyle Bowling, with that of Brian Burchett, Nick Holland, Chris Essery, and Timmy McNally going to finish out your top 10. And you look at that top 10, I got to say, for Nick Holland, a great finish for himself. Same for Brett Sommers, two drivers that needed to have great finishes. But you look throughout the field, I think the big glaring one has to be Dylan Glass down in 24th. Not having the best run that he wanted. And also for Aaron Hale, two drivers that really needed some good solid finishes here at the Glen.
Yeah, this night couldn't have went worse for those drivers. Fortunately for them, they did have Trey Jackson, Dylan Grimm missed the race. That allows them a little bit of buffer, especially for Aaron Hale. But Glass needed everything tonight to get into better position. Just did not work out for him, getting out of this race early and going there down turn 7. So tough night for a few guys, but good night for other guys. Even Brian Burchett up there in that 7th spot. Normally a good road course racer, doesn't normally get the finishes. He got a good finish here tonight, and that's good to see for that 33 machine.
Yeah, and as we were also waiting for interviews to happen, we went back, rewatched some of the bigger accidents and wrecks that happen between drivers. Chris Essery, Travis Butt, their squabbles here tonight amplify, and Travis Butt just continues to have more and more rivals throughout this season. I think the 00's got to be careful the closer we get to playoffs, and if Travis Butt makes it into the playoffs, who's going to be, given a little bit or being a lot more aggressive to the 00 is going to be a question to watch out for. But Zach, as we're starting to close here at the Glen, what are some of your final thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, man, always love road course racing first off. So it's been a good night to watch these guys do battle. And yeah, got to give credit to Scott Rickard just for being always on top of his stuff and just really being unbeatable so far on the road courses. But I can't wait for next week, Darlington. It's going to be a blast there. These drivers are going to have to figure out the old lady in black.
We're excited for it. And us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the broadcasts don't stop throughout the week as we take a look at the future broadcasts. Again, it's inching closer and closer. It's been on every single schedule. The MPI Cup Series, it is coming here just this weekend. Sunday is when that action happens. And then the next day after that, we're going to be seeing Monday racing once again for the NAISCC Truck Series. We had last week at Kansas for Underdog, and also tonight finishing up at Watkins Glen. The championship race Saturday, it is the NAISCC Cup Series. They're having their championship race at Chicagoland, where we figure out who we're crowning as a champion. And it's going to be seeing ourselves with a first-time champion. Who's going to get it done? We can't wait for it to happen here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But for tonight, it was that machine, the 05, Scott Rickard, find himself in victory lane. Question is, who's going to beat him? Who's going to be the next one to get a win? As playoffs right around the corner for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. For tonight, my name is Sam Dyer at Zach Hall. Robert Moore, you're running the productions here tonight. Thank you for joining us on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Keep yourself safe. Have a great night. We'll see you on our next broadcast.